What's good, guys? Welcome back. It's Behind the Dugouts for your latest transfer news video, and we have had a bombshell today. Newcastle have rejected Liverpool's opening bid as fast as you reject your ex when she comes crawling back after she realises she's made a mistake. But before we get into all of that, we are going to start off at home. We have had some updates on Xavi Simons as well as another exit for the club. So this is the latest on Marc Guiu and Sunderland. Sunderland agree a deal to sign Marc Guiu on loan from Chelsea. Here we go. Deal in place for a straight loan, no buy option clause as Guiu remains a part of Chelsea's long-term plans. Salary covered by Sunderland as he'll be an important striker for their plans. Now, how do you feel about this deal? Me personally, I think this is a great move for the player. I think it's a great move for the club. He can now go to a team where he's going to get regular minutes. We are in a situation at the moment where we've got three strikers. I know there's a lot of news around Nicholas Jackson, whether he's going to stay, whether he's going to go. At the moment, it's looking like he's going to stay. Again, nothing concrete has come out of any of the rumours, no bids, and it's going to take a significant fee to prime off our hands, and a lot of clubs are not willing or have the funds in order to make that bid. So I do think Nicholas Jackson is going to stick around, which means there's not really going to be any minutes on offer for Marc Guiu, as Nicholas Jackson himself is at the moment the third choice striker, so Marc Guiu will find himself behind him. So for me, for him to go out to a Premiership side, which is going to be great for his development, play regularly, play first team football, and play in the toughest league in the world, it's going to be perfect for the player, and we can get a good eye on what he can do. They'll have scouts pretty much at every game. They'll get reports from Sunderland on the player's development as well, just so we can keep tabs on how he's getting on. And for Chelsea, it's another wage off the book for the season. It says Sunderland are going to cover the whole wage, which is what we wanted. So all in all, it works for the player and it works for the club. And I think this is going to be really, really good for Marc Guiu. And I'd love to see how he, develops over the course of the season. I think he's going to have a really good season. I will be keeping a close eye on him. Now, moving into a player that potentially could be coming in. This is the latest on Xavi Simons. Chelsea are still working on a deal for Xavi Simons. A verbal agreement is almost done. There is still a strong feeling that this deal will go through. Chelsea are ready to submit official bid, but further player offloads are needed first. The Xavi Simons deal is currently independent of Chelsea's interest in Alejandro Garnacho. Yes, there's a few things to unpack in this sort of statement from Florian Plettenberg. Now, the Alejandro Garnacho situation, it has sort of been widely made known. Chelsea are going to put a bid in for Garnacho before the end of the transfer window. It's been sort of rumoured across everywhere. They have stated almost every day that they are still interested and see it as a market opportunity. They've done background search on Garnacho, which has come back all clear in regards to his temperament and the way that the player is. So I do expect this to still go on and a bid to be put in at some point between now and the end of the window. In regards to the Simons deal, it does make sense that the club need to make sales because we've still got quite a lot of players on the books. One in particular in Sterling, which I barely see anything about. He definitely needs to be moved on. He's got a big wage. We're probably not going to recuperate any part of the money that we spent on him. This is going to be a big loss for us, but he just needs to get off the books and he needs to be moved on. So I do get it that we do need to make sales before signing Simons. However, there could be the potential that we could lose out on him because of this. I know part of the reason is Leipzig is holding fast on their price for him. Chelsea, obviously adamant they have set a value for him, and we've seen what they are like when they set a value. We look at the Mike Maignan deal, they set the value, AC Milan wanted more and they ended up walking away. I don't think this is the same situation. I still think the Simons deal is going to go through. There has been a few rumours that Leipzig are still interested in Christopher Nkunku, which could be a reason why the deal might be held up. Maybe they're trying to negotiate for Nkunku. But again, I think these might be one of those situations if Nkunku is wanted by Leipzig and, he wants to go there himself, that it will be separate from the Simons deal. But I get that the club need to make sales. I just don't want to lose out on the player because of it. Apparently, personal terms are already agreed. So once the club agrees a fee, it will be a quick turnaround and it won't take long to get the player signed on. But we'll see how this one materialises. Again, it's not dead. It's just slowed down a bit due to the fact that we need to make some player sales. And yeah, I think in the next week or so we will see it ramp up. I do think that if the Simmons deal is going to go through, it's going to be done before the Bayer Leverkusen game, I think, because we haven't got a long preseason. We've not got a lot of matches before we play Crystal Palace in the first game of the season. So they're going to want all the players that they want before the first game so they can embed them, get them into the team, build up a bit of chemistry, get the manager to work with these players. You don't want to be signing them after the season starts. So, yeah, we'll keep a close eye on this one, but I think it will slow down a little bit. Probably won't hear anything significant until next week. Now, moving on to the meaty part of the video. Yes, you've seen it correctly. Newcastle have rejected 120 million bid from Liverpool for the striker Alexander Isak. Now, there has been some further updates on this. So this is the latest on Alexander Isak and Liverpool. Liverpool opening bid for Alexander Isak was worth 120 million package plus add-ons. Newcastle rejected as they won't open doors at least until finding a replacement. And it's not guaranteed at this stage. Isak insists with Newcastle on his clear desire to join Liverpool. And then we had this from Ben Jacobs. Liverpool say no second bid planned as it stands. As revealed, bid was 110 million fixed with no add-ons. Personal terms with Isak not a problem. Liverpool bid with optimism this morning, but Newcastle's response was so quick and strong, another bid is not currently in the works. A key now is how Isak responds. Newcastle hoping he reintegrates and are prepared to offer him a new contract, likely with the ability to leave next summer. Should Isak double down and continue to push for a move and Newcastle find a striker replacement, Liverpool could revisit their stance, but only if Newcastle contact them to offer encouragement. Liverpool won't bid again unless Newcastle indicate they will discuss a sale. Now, the balls on Newcastle in this situation is absolutely outrageous. You would think that they would be in the hot seat. They have the power, it's their player. They can choose the price, and whether he goes or stays is down to them. However, I personally don't think that is the case. We know for a fact Isak has made it very verbal that he wants to leave Newcastle and he wants to join Liverpool. They have themselves gone into the market to try and get a striker. It looks like they're potentially going to lose out on Sesko. They've lost out on Ekitike to Liverpool. The only other striker option really at the moment is Nicholas Jackson, and they are yet to make any formal approach for him. So they're not left with a lot of options. And you would think, you could be sitting there going, but they've got Isak. If they refuse to let him go, then he'll just play. It could go very south very quickly. If you have a player that does not want to play for you, that wants to move to another club, and you refuse to let him leave, there is a slight chance, and a good chance in this case, I think, that the player could refuse to play for you entirely. So he won't reintegrate, he won't play for you, and he will just happily sit and take his money for the entire season. And you would think, okay, maybe Newcastle would take that. They don't want him to go to Liverpool. However, if they don't get a striker, they are going to have no one. And in order for them to get a striker, they need to make player sales, and he is going to generate a lot of money. And the strikers that they are going in for are not cheap. Sesko's looking around 60 to 70 million. Jackson will cost them roughly the same price. So they are going to need funds. It's not like Newcastle are blessed with loads of funds, and it's strange being that they are the richest club in the Premiership with the owners. They don't seem to spend like that, and they don't seem to have the ability to spend like that. So they do need this sale in order to fund their strikers. And it doesn't look like it's going the way that they want. So yes, they have rejected this bid and Liverpool have stepped back. But this is a power move, I think, by Liverpool. They've stepped back to put the fear that they won't go in for Isak. And Newcastle now have a decision. They can try and hold the player and hope they can convince him to reintegrate and play, and then they don't have to worry about it. But if there is a chance that he doesn't and they refuse, they could be struck with no striker and a player that is just taking money and not willing to play, where they could have sold him for 110. I know there's a little bit of fluctuation of the price. Some are saying 120, some playing 110. It's in and around that amount. They could have used that money to go out and get them a striker, and they are really struggling. So I think Liverpool are in the strongest position here, and I think Newcastle, they're going to have to make a decision soon. Either they've got to accept this bid, or be more forthcoming, as it's clear that they were very quick to reject this deal. Not, not even taking long to put the response straight to Liverpool. So they would definitely need to be more open to the sale if they want this deal to go through, and they're going to have to go to Liverpool saying, please take our player, which is definitely not a position Newcastle want to be in. But if they want to move on and if they want to get themselves a striker, they are going to need to raise some decent funds, and the way to do that is by selling Isak. I do think this deal is still going to go through. I think Isak is going to be a Liverpool player by the start of the season. I think it's just going to drag on for a little bit, and Liverpool don't really need to do anything. They've made the signing of Ekatike. Of course, they would love Isak. Like, it's going to make them incredibly strong, but they don't need to do anything now. They just need to wait and watch it unfold at Newcastle, because there will be a panic if Isak refused to play and they haven't brought anybody in. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. I'd love to get your thoughts, guys. Now, how do you feel about the Marc Guiu loan? Do you think the Simons deal is going to get over the line? And do you think Newcastle are going to hold on to Isak, or are Liverpool just going to prove too strong and get their man? Drop a comment below. Love to hear your thoughts. But for now, that's all from me, guys. If you are enjoying the content, please hit that like button. Drop a comment. I'd love to engage with you guys more. But for now, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next one.